Hey parents, it is Allison again. I am an occupational therapy assistant student at Pima Medical Institute, and I am working with Miss Ariel. So today we are going to be discussing motor planning. So essentially what motor planning is it is a skill that allows us to remember as well as perform steps. And between remembering and performing those steps, that's how we make movement happen. So for kiddos who struggle with motor planning, it's going to take them a longer time to learn as well as complete tasks. An example of a task would be something like tying your shoes. And so we use motor planning for all physical activities. And these physical activities can include activities of daily living, so something like brushing your teeth or washing your hands. And so what I've done today is I have come up with 10 activities. I'm really excited about all 10 of them. They're fun ways that you can work with your kiddo to help them to develop and strengthen their motor planning. So the first is yoga, kind of starting off simple, but being able to manipulate your body into different movements is going to be very important, and it's a fun activity that you can do at home and you don't need any additional equipment or tools to do it. Something like downward dog is going to be an excellent form of yoga, but there are really fantastic online platforms for yoga as well. So you can pull up a video that you can do with your kiddo, or even little yoga cards that you can pull up and do with your kiddo as well. The second is Simon Says. Simon Says is a game that I grew up playing and I absolutely loved it. A good example of this is trying to do relatively difficult physical movements with your kiddos. So Simon Says stand on one leg, right? So if you need to, and this would be a way to grade an activity down or to make it a little less challenging, is performing that activity first. So performing it by standing on the one leg, showing them, and then allowing them to do the same movement. Another activity is animal walks. So we've discussed animal walks in the past when we were discussing both proprioception as well as vestibular input. Animal walks are going to be a fantastic physical form of activity that's going to help to get your body moving. An example of this could be frog jumps, exactly how they sound. You're just stationed down like a frog, and you're just going to hop like a frog, just like that. Another really great one is a crab walk or a bear walk. Again, we went over that a little bit in the video that I presented yesterday. Another activity that I absolutely loved doing growing up was The Floor is Lava. This is an excellent activity because you can make it really simple and you can just specify the couch and the one blanket I've put on the ground are safe areas, or you can have a really large space and you can put lots of different pillows on the ground, lots of different blankets and so forth. And so you can really work your way up in this activity. You can start by just jumping to one pillow for safety because the ground is lava. And then from there, you can kind of work your way up to jumping to 3 or 4 pillows, or to jumping a pillow that's farther away than it used to be. And so that's really going to help for us to build up that momentum and that strength as well. Another really fantastic activity is obstacle courses. Obstacle courses are going to be fantastic, and you can kind of include these activities to make an obstacle course. So maybe frog jumping to a designated area, and then from there, the floor is lava, and jumping from one pillow to another, and then from there, maybe you do a couple different yoga poses. And so you're really able to develop an obstacle course in any way that you see fit. Another really fun activity, this is an activity that I found online that I thought was adorable. It's called Pirate Treasure. And so your kiddo can do one of two things. Either they can be the pirate and they can find the treasure, or they can be the one who hides the treasure and then they can write out a map to help you to find the treasure. So there are a lot of different ways in which motor planning is going to come into play in this one. If they are hiding the treasure, then they are going to be developing a map on how to find it, and that can be really tricky, writing out a map and remembering where they put that treasure, how to draw that map out, and so forth. And then as well as playing pirate, even if they watch you to hide something, you take them into a different room, you spin them around 5 times, and then you have them come back out. and you have them check to see if they can remember where they found it. And so Pirate Treasure is a really excellent activity as well. Excuse me. After Pirate Treasure, target practice is a really, really fun activity. This is an excellent motor planning activity. Target practice could be something as simple as setting up 4 empty water bottles on a table and allowing your kiddo to take a pair of rolled up socks and throwing at those items and trying to hit those items. You can also do it outside with water balloons if you wanted to make it a little bit more interactive or a little bit more fun. And you can also make it more challenging by giving them a lighter item to throw. So a heavier item is going to go farther. A lighter item maybe isn't going to take as much flight. And so, depending on whether or not you want to make the activity more difficult, grading it up, or easier, grading it down would depend. In addition to target practice, dance off was another activity that I thought would be so much fun. And so dance off is pretty much exactly how it sounds. You're not just putting on music and dancing, but you're dancing off with someone else. So if I do a movement, you have to mimic that movement. And then, they have to do another movement, and then you have to mimic that movement. And so really holding your kiddo, accountable and showing them a movement and then expecting them to be able to mimic that movement and then participate by giving you an additional movement. And then 2 others. So again, a game that I absolutely loved playing growing up is charades. So animal charades would be an excellent example of this game, but you can do it in a number of ways. So acting out a monkey, right? Having a hat full of different animals as an example, picking one out of the hat. I have a monkey. I need to act out a monkey until someone guesses it. And so that's helpful for the kiddos who are trying to guess. It's also helpful for the kiddo who is physically interacting and trying to mimic that animal. And then lastly, another really, really fun game. We played this growing up and it had a number of different names. I chose to call it playing zookeeper. So having your kiddo pick out a handful of different stuffed animals as an example. Maybe they have horses or dogs or cats or bears, and putting those stuffed animals in different areas throughout the living room or throughout their bedroom, and then having them trap those animals. So playing zookeeper, maybe giving them a storyline. All of the animals got out of the zoo and we need to make sure to get them safely back into their habitats. And so using a hula hoop and throwing it onto this animal to trap it. If you wanted to make it more difficult, maybe using a frisbee, something which a much smaller diameter to try and catch this animal. Making it easier, maybe something as large as a hula hoop but much lighter than a hula hoop would be an excellent activity as well. There really are a multitude of activities that you can do for motor planning, truly just getting up, being active, and using your imagination, having fun with it. All of this is going to help to develop those motor planning skills. Anything that, again, involves physical activity is going to help with developing those activities, or rather those movements that we need for activities of daily living as well. I hope that you learned something from this motor planning video and that you have a beautiful day.